You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch. It's just like we're dying to get home and see the cats. And if Lee's looking after the cats, we're like, just leave before we get there. We just want time with the cats. I'm more excited to see them than, him.
He would love that.
Yeah, I know. Oh, fuck you, Sean. Well, how fucking hot has it been today?
Look, I have been in the aircon at home, so I've fluctuated in between turning the aircon because I'm sitting right underneath the unit and it's like ice on me. So at some points I was sweating and I welcomed the iciness of the cold, and then I get to the point where I was like, "Fucking hell, I'm freezing! I got to turn this prick off." So I would turn it off, and then I would walk upstairs and I'd be like, "Oh my god, it's fucking roasting up here." But I was so busy with work stuff today that it was just an afterthought. Do you know what I mean? I never actually thought to myself, geez, it's hot today. I just kept thinking, fuck, I'm hot. Aircon on.
Bang. Yeah, I mean, I was fine. I was in the office, so I was fine then. But then I walked home. And by the time I got home and then came into the house,
yuck.
and then we're sorting out the cats and getting the laundry on and then sorting out myself, having a shower, getting dinner ready. I was just like this sweaty bollocks thing. But I've got the aircon set on now. You know that raindrop mode where it takes moisture out the air?
Talking of aircon, I think I'm going to whack mine back on.
Give it a little crank.
Just a little cheeky. Neat.
But yeah, it was like when I was in Darwin for work, you'd walk outside and the sweat would just instantly hit you, and then you'd go back in and then the aircon would turn it to ice, like you were saying. Which is kind of refreshing. You'd be like, oh, tantalizing.
I know, it's like the aircon in Bali is like fridge level, isn't it? It's like everywhere you go, it's like going into a fridge. And then you're like, oh my God, it's so assy. And you'll be like boiling hot and you'll be in your wet togs, and then you'll walk into the aircon and you're like, ooh, I need a hot shower.
The nipples up.
And then you step outside and you're like, it's so fucking hot. It's such a contrast. Anywho. So welcome to this week's podcast, people.
Called
the Stupid Bitches Say What? The podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine or beer. Definitely wine tonight because it's been a bit of a fucked week for me.
Bless.
Wine or beer, and your hosts, Skyly Collett. Am I supposed to say me?
No, just
Sean Hipkins.
And Skyly Collett. We will get it right by the end of the season.
I think it's been about 4 seasons of the new format, and I still haven't adjusted, people, and I apologize, but I don't know if I'm going to get it anytime soon.
But this is what she got to deal with.
I'm a bit spesh.
Oh, well, I fucked it up too. Last week, I think.
Been dwelling on that, have you?
It's just been laying
for a whole week.
Laying in bed at night.
Oh my God, I fucked up the intro.
About to go to sleep, and then it just pops in my head. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Everyone thinks you're an idiot.
You silly pig.
You silly pig.
Silly pigs don't wear crowns.
Stupid pig. Stupid bitch.
That's like that. Fucking blowfly around my face.
I know. I've seen it fly around a few times. It's like that meme where of Alice in underwear.
What?
Alice in Wonderland, where she's looking up at
in underwear.
That could be a porn, couldn't it?
That could totally be porn.
Or a really sort of cool name for a new lingerie shop, Alice in Underwear. And I'm trademarking that, by the way, people.
Yeah, totally. Quick, get in. I do feel like I was just thinking as you were saying porn, I was like, I wonder if there's already a porn called that. It seems like an obvious one to leap to. Do you know what I mean?
You know that meme where she's looking up the Cheshire Cat and he goes, we're all a little mad here, Alice. And she's like, at me?
Anyhow, so what are you drinking, you stupid bitch? Oh, should we talk about what tonight's episode's about?
Yes, let's.
So it's pop culture, my favorite, and we're doing almost a little bit of a back in time, which is not really a back in time in the traditional categories that we used to do, but it's back in time in the sense that we haven't done it in a while.
Yes, it's back in time for our podcast
It's back in
format.
time for us because we're going to do a little bit of a what's the haps this week. So we're going
What?
to talk about
Ah,
current events, um, things
that
that have
piqued our
piqued
interest. Very
piqued
good.
our
Very
interest
good.
this week. Now, look, it's been a bit of a dull week, I have to say. You're going to be like, what, when I talk about some of my topics?
I
Um,
did use the whole month as my inspiration.
Look, I couldn't even find anything fucking interesting that happened this month except for politics. And I was like, ugh, yeah,
Yeah.
gross. Politics make me sad.
Yes, at the moment they do, definitely.
Everywhere they make me sad. They make me
Yeah.
sad in Australia. They make me sad internationally.
Yes, agreed.
Anywho, so that's what we're doing this week. And over to you, Sean Bruno Hipkins. Please enlighten us with what
I
beverage you have in your glass because it looks like red.
It is red. I'm mad for the Reds. Mad
Mad!
at me. And
Mad!
it's I because my Reds have been literally I've been getting one a month from my good pair days. So the other week I went out and I was like, fuck this. Had to buy some other booze anyway. So I just bought 12 bottles of red at BWS so I could stock up my wine rack and have a good selection over Christmas. Got your little discount, when you get 6 bottles, they give you a little dissy.
Very jealous. I only have one bottle of red in my house and I'm drinking it right now.
Well, that's why I was just always looking at it. My rosés and my bubbles are building up in the other rack, but the red rack had just like one or two. But now it's a bit healthier. Tonight I am drinking a Krondorf Barossa Cabernet Sauvignon Vintage 22. What
Ooh,
region is it? Oh,
that
Barossa.
looks fancy.
Well, it has the big divot, but
Oh, that's right. That's Hutch, isn't it? Hutch says if you can fit your finger in, it's a good bottle.
well, and I've also had some cheap shit bottles that can fit my finger in there.
I can fit my finger in a smidge.
Yeah, in a smidge.
Goes in about to about there. Got
Yeah.
nails on. I got my falsies on. So, you know.
It is concerning though when you get one that is a flat bottom and you're just like, oh,
Well,
but
I
they're
don't
okay.
actually, I must say that I don't actually really pay much attention to the bottom of it. I have to do that more.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Be more
correct or if it's
aware.
just a urban legend / old wifey tale. But anyway, it's a
Something
cab
us
sav.
80s babies do. Oh, sorry, you're not an 80s babe. You
The lucky
old bitch.
cigarette, that type of shit.
Oh, yeah, I love the lucky cigarette.
So, but yeah, it's delicious. It's cab sav. Love me cab sav, and that's pretty much what I just bought was 12 cab savs.
It is the best kind, isn't it?
Mm.
The best kind of red.
And how about you, stupid bitch, drinking red from a crystal champagne flute?
Oh,
What are you
yes.
drinking?
That somebody got me for my birthday, please. I'm drinking something that we've drunk before on the podcast. It's the Jacob's Creek, and
Oh,
it's the double barrel Cab Sav 2021 aged Irish whiskey
whiskey.
barrels.
I got 2 of those in my purchase of
Oh,
12.
did you? We're
Yeah, I
from
quite like it. BWS.
BWS, right. Yeah, because I got these. I got 2 for 40 at Liquorland on Monday night.
Very good. They're not. You can taste the whiskey in it, can't you?
Oh, to be honest, I
can.
don't think I've really concentrated on it enough to notice. I
Have a
actually
smell.
we didn't drink over the weekend because we were still, recovering from Bali, and then I was traveling
Very
for work
good.
and Tyler had started his new job. So we got to the weekend and we were absolutely fucking exhausted because we got off the plane pretty much and went straight back into life.
Yeah.
And hang on, let me have a whiff. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I can smell the whiskey.
Yeah. It's not strong. It's just a tone.
So on Monday I was like, you know what? I feel like a fucking drink. So I went to Liquorland and got 2 for 40. And then
Nice.
Tyler had 1 large glass. And then I drank the rest of the bottle, then opened this bottle and had the large glass out of this bottle that he had out of the first bottle.
I love that for you.
So technically I only drank a bottle.
Very good.
But yes, it's delicious. We've had it before. I think I
Yes.
had it, then you had it.
Yes. Well, we've got a bottle that Vinny got for his 40th. So I think and it's like a 2017 vintage now.
Right. Because that's right. Because I kept saying to you, drink it. And you're like, then he won't let me.
Yes. So I just bought my own. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think
right.
his is like a $50 bottle version of it.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So, anywho, how has your week been?
The week has been good.
Tell us all about you.
I went and saw Frooms last night. that comedian from Instagram
Right.
at the
You did tell me,
Powerhouse.
and I said, huh, what, who?
Yes.
I
So
think I said, what is that?
you did. And I've had many people say, oh, what do they play? As in like a band. So
Like
I'm
it's a
just going
band.
to
It sounds like a
quickly,
band's name, that's for sure.
I knew you were going to ask this. So I'm just going to quickly show you her. Familiar?
No, not even a little bit.
Her?
No.
She's on Instagram and I followed her on Insta from 2020. Kim, who I went and saw Frooms with, well, she actually asked me to go because no one else would go with her, um, has been following us since 2017. She's written a book that's apparently a bestseller. It's just come out called I Always Wanted to Be Hot. Her real name is Jacinda Light. No, that's Lucinda Light. Jacinta Price. Lucinda Price.
Okay. Still
Um,
not ringing any bells. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So she used to do some funny shit on Instagram, and she reminded me so much of a colleague I used to have called Alyssa. I'd be like, "Oh my god, bitch, it's you," and she'd be like, "I've heard this before." Anyway, so it was like a Q&A about a book. She had a host that was there that asked a question. She'd read a chapter from a book, that type of stuff. So it was kind of cool. It's $45 or something. And she talks about her recovery from her eating disorder in it. So when I was following her at the beginning, she was Ally McBeal sort of size.
Yeah, right.
And so I didn't realize she had an eating disorder. I just thought, you know, how some people have that build. But yes, she had an eating disorder. She worked for Pedestrian, you know, that TV, Pedestrian TV. And I'm sure I've sent you a couple of memes from her, but
I'm sure
yeah,
you have.
it was
But
good fun.
let's be fair.
We do
We
send a
sent
few.
a lot of memes. A lot.
Scrolling.
So much so that sometimes we send the same one at the same time to each other, or we send ones that we've sent to each other repeatedly. And sometimes we mean to, but sometimes we're like,
Sometimes we
bitch, I
don't.
sent this to you ages ago and you didn't even give a smiley face.
Oops, I must have scrolled past that one. The other thing was on Saturday, we decorated our house for Christmas.
Oh, I can see some Christmas cheer going on back
Yes.
there. Well
So
done.
that was fun. I had the girls around. We were meant to play 500 because Vinny can't play 500 and refuses to learn. Instead, we just got absolutely rancid drunk. And Belinda Belinda went to see Heidi out and Kylie out and because she was leaving. And when she got downstairs, she's like, "Fuck, I can't get back in."
Oh,
Didn't
how many
think
times does that happen to me?
didn't think to buzz our unit number, so she followed some
Your
randoms
house
in.
is a rabbit warren. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
but
especially when you're drunk.
she went followed some randoms in, ended up on level 1, ended up in the pool area, lost. I went downstairs after about 15 minutes thinking, where the fuck is this bitch? Walked all the way up to the street, back and around down the restaurants, thinking, starting to get worried, like her phone was up here. So she didn't have a phone. Well, I was just like, what is going on? And then I thought she wouldn't have gotten the Uber with Kylie and gone because her phone's here and shit.
Yeah.
Then I walked down, I was walking towards the gate area and my vision was blurry. I was like, is that Kylie? Is that a man? Who's that person hunched over? I'm just going to have to walk in and see. And it was fucking Belinda. She was on her iWatch sending help. I'm like, what are you doing here? How'd you get here? She's like, I don't know.
Oh, baby. It's happened to me. I've been lost in the lifts before, on the levels,
Yes, it was
wandering
fucking
around
funny.
aimlessly.
And you could see the satisfaction and joy in her face when I found her. And she's like, oh my God, I'm saved. But also, so speaking of Christmas, Christmas FM officially kicks off tomorrow,
Oh,
Australia time, which I'm very excited about.
but
And
tomorrow's only the 29th.
yeah, so Christmas FM actually plays all year.
Right.
But
But you're only allowed to put it on at a certain time. Is that the rule?
No, well, yes, but so when it plays all year, there's no DJs introducing or talking or any of that stuff. And they literally just play about 15 Christmas carols that are all shit over and over again. But as of tomorrow, they have the official DJs coming in. You hear
Like
all the
sets.
Irish accents.
Yeah.
Well, DJs is in like disc jockeys, not like waka 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 DJs, but you know, like
I know, like a radio program, like they come in and introduce and play their favorite songs and
they
have
play
a bit
all
of
the
banter.
Exactly, and they play all the new stuff as well. So I'm very excited about that. I'll kick that off. And I've also been watching some Christmas movies
Oh, would you
already.
know what? So Tyler refuses to watch Christmas movies with me. He always has a big carry on when I say, let's put a Christmas movie on. To be fair, it's not December yet, but once December hits, I'll be like, Christmas movie, Christmas movie.
Yes. Well, and to be fair, I understand how some of them are just absolutely fucking
Absolute
tripe,
garbage.
tripe. And it's all the same formula. You know that meme I sent you? Oh my God, it's a cherry pie 5K.
Yes, yes. So,
That
okay, so
type of
tell
shit.
me, did you watch Merry Gentlemen or did you watch Hot Frosty?
I didn't watch Hot Frosty. I can't stand that guy's face.
In Hot
Hot
Frosty?
body. Yeah, hot body. I just can't stand his face.
Or are you talking about Merry Gentlemen? So Merry Gentlemen
No,
has
no.
that Chad Michael
Yes.
Murray in
I've
it.
watched that one.
And it's got the cute chick who's in heaps of stuff. I forget her name, but she's quite
Yeah.
pretty, the blonde one. What was that like?
It was okay.
Okay.
It very much followed the cherry pie 5K formula
Yep.
with girl from the big
The big
town comes
city.
in to
Yes.
little town. She's going to stay there,
Yes.
sets up something
Yeah.
good, gets an offer to
Someone's
go back.
divorced.
She was going to go back to the big town because, you know, she got this huge offer there, but then does she stay and she lets everyone down and la, rah, rah, rah,
The
rah.
Kooky
The
family.
Kooky Family. The one I did watch that I really liked, which is a new one, is called Meet Me Next Christmas. Same sort of formula. So a chick meets a guy at an airport. They'll talk about pentatonics, you know, pentatonics, a cappella sort of group. They talk about that and they're like, okay, well, look, if this is meant to be this little spark, I'll meet you next year at the Pentatonics concert in New York. And then it's about her journey throughout that year getting to New York. Pentatonics actually have a bit of a part in the story and they're quite hilarious. So they have a manager and the manager will be like, so what are we having for dinner tonight? And they'll all go at once, rissoles or something like that. They don't say that, but you know, like they'll do things where they say shit at the same time. She's like, how do you even know what you're fucking going to say? It was actually quite funny. Lots of good laughs in it.
Was there anyone famous in it?
Or
Or was
not
it all
really.
unknowns?
Pentatonics are pretty famous.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. They're probably big in New York, in America, but I downloaded their album straight away, their Christmas
Wow.
album. I really enjoyed it. It was quite funny, laugh out loud, typical cringy stuff that goes along or cheesy stuff, but I thought it was quite good. I tried watch Merry Gentlemen, Single All the Way. I gave that another shot because it's a gay Christmas one. And it's
Okay.
got the guy from Ugly Betty, who's Mark, who I found hilarious in that. And
Yes.
it is still, I'm sorry to anyone else who loves it. I just find it terrible. It's just super fucking cringe the way, and it's got big names in it. It's got Barry Bostwick, who's Brad in Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's got your one who I think is she's in Sister Act. She's the nun that's, oh, Scarlet, Scarlet, Scarlet.
Oh, they're with the dark hair.
Yes.
Yes,
And
I know the one.
who would like not say
Kathy
anything.
Najimy or something.
Yeah, she wouldn't say anything and then she'd start singing this. Oh,
Yeah.
she's in it. Fucking who else is in it? That Mark guy and Jennifer Coolidge is in it. And she's kind of funny, but just the concept of it is just shit. There's this hot guy he's set up with his mum by his mum, but then he's got his friend who he goes back to the hometown with. And then the parents are like, we always thought you were good with that friend. And then his two nieces are like, how are we going to set him up with the friend? And then it's just like, I totally would have chose the hot guy. But anyway. and,
Always.
and just quickly to finish, Vinny comes home in a week tomorrow, which I'm very much
Woo!
excited about. Looking
Oh,
forward to
that's gone
seeing him.
quick, hasn't it?
Gone quick, but it hasn't. I mean, like, and it
Yeah.
has gone quick for me because, as I said, the first 2 weeks I was just loving doing me for 2 weeks. Vinny is just desperate to come home.
Mm.
It's a long time to be away from home. And he can't
Oh,
wait to see the
totally.
cats and all
It's
that.
massive. It's a massive time. Talking about Christmas movies, though, every year my cousin, she's always into the Christmas movies. And look, her and her family take Christmas to the next level every year. You know, every year they've got matching
This is Mel.
pajamas. This is Mel. They do the matching pajamas every year that they, you know, buy. Like they spend like $150 each on, you know, it's like Peter Alexander or
Wow.
whatever's in the fashion that year. And they always do the Christmas photos like the Santa on the beach or one of those scenes and stuff like that. And they go all out. And Christmas at their house is insane. Like it is at our place too. The present pile is like fucking, you know, about 50 people high. And theirs is the same. But she gets really into the Christmas movies and she'll watch even like the really
Christmas Prince,
garbage,
Christmas Prince
Hallmark
2.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen the Christmas Prince. I've seen the first one.
Uh,
Only because it had the chick that I don't mind from iZombie in it. It was okay.
okay.
But yeah, I like a little, even though I watch Gilmore Girls, which is pretty much comparable to most of those type of films. Um, I do like a little bit more color
Yes,
in
yeah.
mine. But I watched one last year that Tyler really thought was crap, but I loved, and I can't think of who the chick was. She was someone that was relatively famous, but it's got, who's the guy that he,
Australian.
no, he's American and he's in everything, and he's sort of got I want to say Andrew Long, but that's not him. Something Justin Long. Justin Long. You know who Justin Long is? You'll know him as soon
Really?
as you see him. He's in everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was in
He was
the
in
Jeepers
Jeepers
Creepers.
Creepers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have said that first. I should have started. Anyway, so he's in this Christmas movie that I think came out last year or the year before, but he does an accent in it. And I cannot for the life of me say why he does this dumb accent. And once he started doing it, because he doesn't have this accent in real life, and it's supposed to be like country or something like that. But Tyler watched the whole thing and was like the whole time just complained about his accent. And I was like, I got used to it because it's quite funny. And like they've got the crazy parents, the formula. They've got
Yeah,
the
yeah,
crazy
yes.
parents, and they take mushrooms and stuff like that, the parents, because they're like these, they're just old and they're retired and they're looking to have fun and they have like a healthy sex life and they're always doing super cookie shit. And I loved it. I thought it was excellent. So have a look and see.
What was it called? Oh, type in Justin
I
Long
couldn't tell
Christmas.
you, but do Justin Long Christmas and you'll find it. And I want you to watch it because you're in your Christmas
Christmas
movie
with the
mode.
Campbells.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. It's on
So
Prime. Okay.
yeah, so her boyfriend breaks up with her, and it's one of the SNL guys too, one of the guys on
Right.
Saturday Night Live. So he breaks up with her just before Christmas, and she thinks he's going to propose again, similar
Ah,
formula to the
yes.
normal, rom-com sort of movies. And then the family, he decides he's going to go away for Christmas, and he's not going to go, and because the family love her. They find out about the breakup and they're like, you know what? He's not going to be here. Just come home for Christmas anyway, and we'll have one last Christmas with you. We know you're broken up, but he's not going to be here. So just come and enjoy Christmas with us. And she's got no family. So she does. And then she meets the cousin, which is Justin
Right.
Long. And
Justin
then the
Long.
boyfriend obviously does show up at
Is that
Christmas. And
Alex Moffat? Is it him?
I can't remember. But he's someone that you would know when you watch it. But I really, really
There's
liked
someone
it.
named Beef in it.
I don't know. Can't recall.
CJ Calando, Beef.
But Tyler hated it. Like
Okay.
hated it. Like even went and I was like, it wasn't that bad. He was like, it was terrible, Sky. I can't believe you made me sit through that.
Okay, I'll give it a crack. And the other one I was saying that when I was saying is it Australian, I watched it last year, I think, or maybe the year before actually. It's called Christmas on the Farm.
I tried. I got about halfway through because it's got the chick that used to be in that crime show.
Poppy
Poppy
Montgomery,
Montgomery, yes.
Darren McMullen, and Hugh Sheridan.
Yes. It was pretty terrible. And I got to the point where I was like, I gotta turn it off. The
Yeah.
jokes were forced, full of
I watched it.
cliches.
I did watch it all. I don't remember hating it, but I did watch it all. But yeah, I don't think it was great.
I actually remember us discussing it last year, or maybe it was the year before, and me asking you, how was it? And you said, it was okay. And then I went and watched it anyway, I think, because I was either drunk or bored
Yeah.
and just put it on and then went, ooh, and I couldn't finish it.
Okay, I'll watch that other one though. That Christmas at McMullen's or whatever it is.
Campbell's. Christmas with the Campbells. Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, how about you stupid bitch? How's your week been?
Look, I don't really have a lot to talk about my week because it's just been, I think I've covered it in the fact that we just got back from Bali and, we're sort of in Bali mode still and then had to go back into life, which was a bit of a shell shock.
Yes.
It was very refreshing. We had a really good time and it was good to come home. We were definitely ready to come home and we did feel really relaxed and refreshed. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is that I have a little collection of vapes here that I thought you would like to know. Not that I'm promoting vaping, so please don't get offended, listeners, if you're anti-vapors. But these are all my Bali vapes.
Oh, cute.
Just $20 at the it's not the Quickie Mart. What do you call it? It's something Mart that they have everywhere. X Mart or Kmart? Kmart, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or Circle Mart. Is it Circle Mart?
Circle Mart sounds familiar. But that is, like $20 is still steep for Bali vapes, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can get them legit every. And to be fair, we had a whole bunch of these and they kept running out. But I mean, we were smoking them all day. So
Yeah.
I think these ones doesn't say. I think they're only 3,000, and these ones really didn't last, but these ones were not too bad. And then I got the Old Faithful that I paid 45 Australian dollars
Oh
for.
yeah, it's cherry cola.
It was on at Gilly Tea, and I was like, and Tom was like, "Oh my God, Sky, they have the cola lemon soda." And I was like,
That's a cola lemon
"What?"
soda. Yeah.
And so I went and got it, and it tastes like absolute fucking ass. But I'm gonna
Really?
smoke it. Just yeah, it's awful. It
Oh,
tastes like really old chemicals, and I don't know if it used to taste like this,
yeah,
or
yeah,
if it's
yeah.
just because it's really old and it's old stock.
Yeah, I wonder. As long as it fires up.
I used to love these. I used to be obsessed with it.
I do, I remember that, yeah.
But yeah, that's a
Uh,
bit harsh. Anyhow, that's my week.
what's your first story of the night?
Okay, so my first story is I'm going to talk about all the controversies with Sean Diddy Combs, please.
Oh, that's a biggie.
Look, I'm only going to give a synopsis. I thought it would be a bit more banter for us, really, to talk about because um, I really didn't know anything was going on until a couple of weeks ago. I think just before we went to Bali, and something came up on my feed, and I went, "Oh, what's going on with P Diddy?" And Charles was like, "Oh my God, how do you not know all the stuff?" And I was seeing all the baby oil memes,
Mm.
and there was all these news coming up with him
It's
slipping
all the shit
over.
about him and Justin Bieber and loads
Yes,
of
it's
shit.
very, very full on. But I mean, he hasn't really come out and, confirmed anything, and it's just all witness stories, really.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, I don't
He
think.
did make a statement
Did
because
he? Oh, I didn't know that.
it's been I can't remember what it was or how it when he just basically said stuff about how he was a young kid and he was, I don't know if he blamed his parents for some of it, but like he should never have been in some of the situations he was in,
Well, he
basically.
comes from the sing. It did. He's not. Doesn't have a relationship with his dad, does he? It's just his mum. I always thought he was like a single mum.
No, I think he might have reconnected with his dad because his
Right.
dad used
Okay.
to encourage or get involved in some of the stupid behaviors he
Oh,
did when he was
okay.
young.
I just
Remember when he went
remember.
through that turmoil phase of where everyone sort of hated Justin Bieber
Yeah,
because
and
he
he
just
did
came across quite arrogant?
the roast, didn't he, after that to try
Yes,
to clear his name and come back as a bit more personal.
yes.
But I remember when he had that, and I want to call it Never Stop, Never Stopping, which is that like the takeoff movie of it. But it was
Oh yeah,
what was the movie he had about his life? And it was in the cinema, just like the Taylor one is, the Eras one and stuff. And he
yeah.
had this movie, and my friend Nat went to see it with her nieces, I think. And I remember her messaging me after. She's like, "Did you know he comes from a single mum family? Like it's just him and his mum. Like he's made it this far, and it's just his mum."
It's just
And I
so
was like,
inspirational.
"Yeah, exactly." And that's all I remember. That's the only reason I knew that he had, his mum was
Yeah.
a single mum.
No,
Um,
all this shit about like he's going to name names of people that went to his infamous white parties. And I also did see a video that I've just remembered now of some chick that left his apartment, ran from his apartment, and went to the elevator. He comes running out after her in a towel, smacks her, grabs her by the hair, and drags her back up to the room. And it's
is
all
this a
on
video that you
CCTV.
saw?
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
CCTV.
right. Okay. Yeah. And look, there's heaps of people that are being named, but I don't like. It's hard to say with these situations. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just
Yeah,
want to wait until there's actual convictions and stuff like that, rather than reading into all the tabloid
the rumors.
gossip, because you don't know. And I mean, there's people that have come out, like Kevin Hart is someone I think who they keep saying is involved in it, and Tyler's a massive fan of Kevin Hart. Um, and I don't mind him. He's okay. Seems like a
Yeah,
nice fella.
it's okay. There's some shit I'm just like, but some of his
Mm,
stuff has been okay.
mm. But it's a bit concerning if he's involved in it. But anyway, let me do my spiel, and then we'll touch on some allegations, because maybe that whole elevator thing will come out in some of the bits that I'm talking about. Oh God. So Sean Diddy Combs is currently embroiled in multiple serious legal and public allegations
Mhm.
involving sexual misconduct, sex trafficking, and abuse. And look, if this is all legit, and he is, which I do believe, of course, I'm not naive. Of course, some of it has to be true because they've got
Where
so
there's
much
smoke,
on
there's
him,
fire.
of
Yeah.
course. But if all the things that people are speculating about him is true, it's an absolute disgrace that he has been able to get away with this for all this
Yeah.
time, and people have known
Yeah.
what he's
Just
capable
through
and what
fame and
he
money.
has been doing. And because of how much money he has, he's been getting away with it. That is just despicable. And
Yeah.
more people should have
It's
stood
Epstein
up.
level stuff.
It's horrible. So the controversies began escalating in late 2023 under the New York Adult Survivors Act, which allowed victims to file lawsuits for historical cases of abuse. Several lawsuits have been filed since then, with more than 120 individuals alleging misconduct, including sexual assault, trafficking, which is the thing that really, I mean, sexual assault's really, really bad, but that trafficking thing, it's just always, I just think, oh, what's happening there? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And drugging incidents at parties hosted by Coombs. These accusations involve both adults and minors, spanning decades.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know how much is true. It's still under investigation, and he is currently incarcerated with no bail, despite him trying fucking hard to get out.
Good.
So notable claims include Cassie Ventura's allegation. In November 2023, singer Cassie, Diddy's former partner, accused him of physical and emotional abuse during their relationship. While this lawsuit was settled privately shortly after being filed, it brought renewed attention to other accusations. Sex trafficking and racketeering. Coombs faces accusations of organising parties where illegal activities, including trafficking and underage exploitation, allegedly occurred. Some
Can I
claim.
just quickly say something? Sorry.
Yeah.
So that Cassie Ventura, she's the one in the
was
elevator bed.
I thought she was. Yeah. Some claim that prominent figures, including celebrities and executives, were implicated or financially benefited from looking the other way. Additional lawsuits, other lawsuits describe alleged incidents of drugging, sexual harassment, and violence. For example, Rodney Little Rod Jones accused Combs of harassment and threats, while Joey Dickinson Neal filed a case for being drugged and assaulted in 1991.
Jesus.
Coombs has been denied bail multiple times, and he remains in custody while awaiting trial. His legal team denies all allegations, arguing many claims are baseless or exaggerated. But like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. And 1991 is like so long ago, but it's around that same time frame of when the Menendez brothers went to trial, but the jury wouldn't believe in boys being sexually abused by men because of the homophobia, and that just didn't happen. And that's that same person who said he got drugged in 1991, even if he said something. He wouldn't have been
if
believed.
You think about like Harvey Weinstein as well, you know.
Yeah.
He was doing it for fucking years and years and years.
Yeah, it's so gross, isn't it?
Oh, I think if you saw it, you'd stand up, right? You would tell someone, wouldn't you? Like if you were a friend of theirs or you saw it at a party, you'd be like, that's not right. I'm not okay with that.
But you don't know what the intimidation levels would be, what they would have said to you as well, what they will destroy your fucking family, you'll never work again, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be young and influenced by that stuff.
I'm talking more about the older people who were around who didn't say anything.
You'd hope so. But like it's the same, I hate to say it, but like Michael Jackson and all that, and a lot of the parents that allowed their children to go and play in these Neverland scenarios, which sleep in beds with them and shit. Like some people, you'd like to hope that you would have done the right thing. Yeah.
So the scope of these accusations has led to significant public backlash and scrutiny of Coombs' business and personal life. Many of his partnerships and projects have been terminated or paused. The cases continue to develop, with more victims reportedly coming forward. But he's still got all that money. Do you know what I mean? Like he's got so much cash and so many assets. Like he owns so many things. But I guess if you're found guilty, they take it all, don't they? Generally, if it's if it's in your name.
And it depends, I guess, if the lawsuits then get payouts to their victims, he'll lose a lot of it through that.
But they need some good evidence too, right?
Well, and that's
Like
what you think, they'd have to have some pretty good evidence to not have any
to deny
bail.
bail too.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got the money behind him to get the best representation and all that shit.
They're saying that like I think I read he was, offered to turn in his jets. He
Yeah.
owns fucking
Plural.
jets. Like,
Plural.
and his passport, and they were still like, no, you
Yeah.
still have too many connections,
Yeah.
people of wealth, to be able to go into hiding.
And also, what if he harms himself as well so he doesn't have to face any of it?
I don't think he would do that. I don't think he'd just hide. He'd go into hiding and
Yeah.
pay a lot of money to just, probably change his
Disappear.
face and
Oh, have you
file
seen
up
his
his
face in
fingers or
some of his
something.
shit
Ugh,
too? Like, it's
ick.
just like that. It's like a really small face on a large head.
So what I was interested in, though, and I said I wasn't going to name names, but Jennifer Lopez's past connection to Sean Diddy Combs is gaining renewed attention amid the legal controversies surrounding him. While Lopez has not been implicated in the recent lawsuits against Diddy, her former relationship with him from 1999 to 2001 has resurfaced in the context of ongoing investigations. Specifically during their relationship, Lopez and Diddy were involved in a high profile 1999 nightclub shooting case.
Yes, I remember that.
Both were initially arrested, but Lopez was quickly cleared of any wrongdoing. Recent lawsuits, however, have raised allegations that Diddy may have bragged about bribing witnesses and jurors during his trial for that incident. One claim even suggests that Lopez allegedly carried a gun into the club for Diddy,
Yeah.
though no charges or evidence currently support this assertion against her.
And a lot
These
of that shit you can be guilty by association, and then the fucking vultures just attack that shit.
Yeah. And look, they were only together for a couple of years, like 2 years,
Yeah.
really. But I
She's
remember
no
when it was
Giselle.
in all the tabloids too. Do you remember when they were dating?
Yeah.
I remember when
Yeah.
they were going out.
Because he was just known. I remember he was known for throwing the best parties. I think he had a couple of songs that maybe made it, but he was no real proper entertainer as such.
Ooh, I think it would depend on who you ask.
Yeah.
I
I thought
think
he was
there's
more
some
of the,
fans out there.
yeah. I just thought he was more of a entrepreneur in the music industry
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I think you're right. I think that you're definitely right about that. But I think that he definitely had his fan base.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I certainly wasn't in that bracket.
Also was not.
So, also notably, Ben Affleck,
Yeah.
Lopez's current husband, but not husband because they're getting divorced, has reportedly testified in ongoing investigations. His testimony allegedly addresses Lopez's role in managing Diddy's public controversies during their relationship, though the details remain speculative. If true, this could complicate her public image as an artist. An entrepreneur focused on transparency and professionalism.
I think her
Ick.
reputation and her popularity as an artist is pretty much on the down anyway.
Yeah. Again, I think she has a massive following too. Like, I think maybe not so much in our realms of people that we like, but you think about her TV, like her movies, I mean, she'd still be getting, a couple of $1 million to star in some of the movies. She had a film out recently before all this started. Again, didn't watch it. Probably
Yeah,
haven't
I
seen
have
her in
no
a
idea
film
what
in
it
about
is.
15 or 20 years. Even if she was making films 20 years ago, I don't know when she started being an
Yeah, I
actress.
think she was, because she was in movies before she was a star, like a
Are
musician.
you sure? I thought she was
Yes.
in music before she was in films.
I remember she was in some films, um and then like they sort of had this huge reveal of her when she became a pop star. It was like, oh my God, she looks so different.
Jenny from the block.
I'm still.
Jenny from the block. Used to
Yeah.
have a little, now I have a lot.
Gotta know I know where I came from. Have you seen that video where she's walking down the street?
Yeah, I used
And
to live here.
and he's like, "Who are you?" She's like, "Jennifer Lopez." He's like, "Who?" And she's like, "I used to live there," and just kept walking.
So Lopez has not sorry, J Lo, not Lopez, because she's J Lo, remember? Or Jenny from the block.
J-Lo.
Has not commented publicly on these developments, and any potential legal fallout remains hypothetical, please.
Yes.
There's no evidence against her, but Yes, it's very interesting. And even though I was completely in the dark and knew nothing about it except for the memes, and I was like, oh, and every time I saw one, I was like, I don't get it. I
Yeah.
don't get it. And
What
then
do they
after
mean?
I was like flooded with them for ages and it kept being the same thing, I said to Tyler when we were in the car one day, I was like, what's all this thing with Diddy and the baby oil? And Tyler was like, oh my God, Scott,
Have you not seen this?
how do you not know what's going on? Granted, this was probably about a month ago, or maybe a
Yeah,
little bit longer. It's not just today that I've
of
realized
course.
of the scandal, but
It
yeah.
was like that R. Kelly where they used to all refer to him about R. Kelly piss and all that shit and bedwetting and or
Mm,
changing his piss stained sheets. And I didn't know what any of that was until that
mm,
R. Kelly documentary came out and he was pissing on Aisha, I think it was, in some
mm.
video when she was 14.
Because he got into a lot of trouble too, didn't he?
Yeah. Because he did the same thing with he had people going to malls and picking up young chicks and taking them back to
Mm,
his house, and then he'd totally control them. They'd have to stand in the kitchen for an hour, and there'd be others in the house stood in another room until
mm,
he'd use them, and they'd never
mm.
see each other, and parents getting their kids back from him, and because then they'd be
Sick.
adults and they wouldn't leave because he'd Stockholm syndrome them basically. So then the parents would then be fighting to get their daughters back.
Yeah. I have to say, my favorite part of the whole thing, though, is that he keeps trying to get bail. He keeps getting
Yeah,
denied.
good.
Anywho, how about you? What's your first one, please?
All right, you stupid bitch. My first article, and still touching on the old Christmas festivities theme, even though I know we aren't in December yet, I would like to talk about an absolute Christmas staple.
This podcast will come out in December, plus.
It will, December the 2nd, I think. I would like to talk about an absolute Christmas staple, one of those songs that's as much a part of the holiday season as dodgy tinsel and sweating balls by the pool. Do they know it's Christmas
Christmas
time
time
at
at
all?
all. Doo-doo,
See the
doo-doo.
world. So, Do They Know It's Christmas is back for a 30th anniversary remix. Yes, you heard me correctly. 40 years, please.
God.
This song is like that one relative who shows up every Christmas, a bit more weathered, but still claiming the
It was
spotlight.
83, wasn't it? Did it come out in 83?
84, you stupid bitch.
84.
40 years.
Yeah.
It's not 2040, 2023.
Shut up.
Now, this track has had 4 official versions so far: 1984, then
Mm-hmm.
they did it again in 1989, then a 20-year anniversary version in 2004, and then a 30-year anniversary special in 2014. And each time it managed to raise money for a worthy cause such as famine relief and Ebola. The original, however, was all about Ethiopia. And fun fact, it actually inspired We Are the
But
World, We Are the
the
Children
children,
by
we
USA for
are the
Africa
one to
to
make a
make a brighter
brighter
day.
day.
So
So
let's
let's
start
start
giving. So let's
giving.
start
Gotta give
giving.
it.
In 1985, that came out. Yes, it kicked off the trend of stars gathering together to save the world through song. Hashtag iconic.
Mm.
I think we can all agree this song is just as much a Christmas tradition as awkward slash heated family conversations.
Agreed.
Every version hit number 1 in the UK, proving that if you throw Bono, George Michael, and some Duran Duran into a room with a tambourine, Brits will buy it faster than mince pies on sale.
100%.
Speaking of famous faces, the artist lineup across all these versions is a proverbial chef's kiss. Please, we're talking Boy George, Sting.
Chef's kiss. That's a new one.
We're talking Boy George, Sting, Kylie, Jason Donovan, Blast from the Neighbours Past, Ed Sheeran, Sam Smith, Paloma Faith, Seal, One Direction, and Sinead O'Connor, bless her,
Oh,
and
bless
George
her.
Michael, bless him
Bless him.
as well. Oh, and Wet, 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 please.
Mm.
Absolute
Wet, wet,
legends.
wet.
But the twist for the 40th anniversary edition, Bob G, aka Sir Bob Geldof, please,
So Bob Geldof plus.
isn't bringing in fresh voices and names. No, what he is
What's his
doing,
song? What's the Monday? I'm gonna
I don't like
like
Mondays,
Mondays.
tell
I'm
me
gonna
why.
shoot
Ooh, the
the
whole
whole place
school's
down.
down. And that was based on a real event.
Yes, it was. Yes, indeed.
So what he's doing this time is remixing the greatest hits from the previous versions. So it's like a Christmas greatest hits album, but with a humanitarian edge. What did hit the news about this recently this month is Ed Sheeran. He said he would have refused permission to reuse his vocals if asked. Why, I
Oh,
hear you ask?
yeah, I do. I do want to know why.
Well, he reckons that the song perpetuates damaging stereotypes that have stifled Africa's economic growth and dignity. Oof.
Oh,
So some
okay.
strong words from Ed there. Christmas pudding with a side of controversy, anyone?
Mm.
So I'm not exactly sure what he means. If he means that we're still sort of labeling Africa that's impoverished and famined and rah 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 rah,
Well,
and so no
Ethiopia
one's.
still is, right? It's
Well,
still a third world country.
I'd imagine so, but I mean, if it's then turning away people from wanting to go there and spending the touristy dollar,
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Yes, it's funny how we look at things that are really old and we look at them now and we're like, ooh,
it's the same. Yeah. Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, oh shit, that doesn't work so well. Um, so Sir Bob, though, has declared that this is the final hurrah for the song, the definitive version, he says. But, my dear stupid bitch Sky, call me a cynic, but what do you reckon's going to happen in 2034? The 50th anniversary comes around,
Please.
and
It's going to keep
suddenly
going.
the final remix emerges. I'm just
Look,
saying, don't box up the tambourines yet, please.
every time I bought a Christmas CD, it's always on there. I've never brought
Yes,
a Christmas CD and it hasn't been on there in one rendition or another.
it's
It's
there.
always there. Um, Controversy aside, what are they promoting for this, the 40th year anniversary? What sort of,
What is,
charity are they looking after? What
I
is
think
it?
it's famine relief again.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, I think it's famine relief. I couldn't exactly find entirely what's happened, what it is supporting. And I also haven't heard this new version yet, but I can guarantee Christmas
It's going to
FM
be a banger.
will have it on loop starting tomorrow. Hurrah, please. I'll be cranking carols while getting ready for work and feeling absolutely festive as fuck. When will your caroling? When will your caroling and decorations begin, Sky?
Really looking forward to doing a whole Christmas thing this year. And I was going to drag my son over, who's moved out of home, and his girlfriend, and make them, drink with us and decorate the house and decorate the tree. And when I told Link about my idea, he groaned
Oh,
and said, "Ick, please don't make me do that, Mum." And then I said,
did
"But
he?
your girlfriend will love it. She will love it,
You'll
and
be creating
I'll make
memories.
like Christmas cocktails, and we'll have a whole." And he's like, "Oh my god, you just choose any opportunity to have a drink, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I do, because drinking makes things fun."
And you, my
Um,
dear child, will enjoy drinking with me.
when I actually ordered a whole bunch of Temu of all my Christmas packing stuff so I can pack it all. So it's perfectly put away. And I'm going to go through it all and be like, chucking that, keeping that, chucking that, keeping that.
Did you get that idea from Modern Family? Are you still watching that?
We are still watching it. No, I didn't get it from that, but I
Have you seen the
do.
episode yet where they have to do the last minute Christmas?
We're
And
actually just watching that now, but we turned it. We didn't watch the whole thing last night. They're running around because
ah,
they're all going away. Yes,
the
we
mum's
just
like,
started it.
this is your zone. This is your thing. We got to shop. Where we got to go? And she runs in, Haley, I think it is. And she goes, right over here. No, this way. And the mother's like, right, and follows her. Have you seen it where Cam and the dad, what's the dad's name?
Jay.
Jay are together, and he's like, he gives him his little gift.
Well, that's just started. I think we didn't watch the full episode,
Okay.
but so for listeners, we've segued into Modern Family because I'm rewatching it, and Bino always, tells me that I'm like Claire Dunphy.
Yes, and I get told I'm like Cam and Mitch.
You are. You totally like. There's so many times where we're just like, oh my god, that's totally Bino. It's so stereotypical. I know it's awful.
Oh no,
We,
no, but it's fine. If it fits, it fits.
you're both a mixture of
Yeah.
both. There's so many times like, oh my god, that's so Vinny. Oh my god, that is so Bino.
Well, I would when you see the part I'm talking about with Cam and Jay in this episode that you're watching, you will be like, oh my god, that is totally Bino.
What about do you remember the one where Cam gets really sick and Mitch they have tickets to Lady
Oh
Gaga
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's doing all the Lady
Your bracelet's
Gaga
still glowing.
dances. And then they flash to another time when Mitch is sick and Cam's like carrying him everywhere and
Yeah.
like totally doting on him. And then Mitch is like trying to get out of the house to go see Lady Gaga and drugs him so that he passes out from cold medicine, so that he can sneak out to the concert. And fuck, that was so funny. I was like, oh my God, I'm so Mitch to
And he comes
Tyler.
back to bed and he's like, why
And
is your
Tyler
bracelet
is
still
so
going?
Cam, like carrying me around and looking
Yeah.
after me and like making sure I have everything next to my bed when I'm sick. Whereas I'm like, oh my God, are you still sick? It's
I'm
been
gonna
3
gaga.
days. Ick. Get better. Oh God, you can't be this sick for this many days.
But yeah, I am looking forward to hearing this song. I think it'll have the good bits. It'll definitely have Sinead and George Michael in there.
It will be
So
interesting
it
to
will be
listen
good.
to.
Mm.
Yes, I'm very excited about all the Christmas
I
festivities.
know. Well, I get to start Christmas FM tomorrow.
Oh, yay. Maybe I'll put it on in the car on the way to work.
Yes. Well, I get it through Alexa. Like I'll be like, Alexa, play Christmas FM.
Oh, okay. Let me see what
Um,
I can do.
you'll have to see what station to tune into. Do you have digital radio in your car?
It's hard to say.
All right. Anyway, what's your next story, you stupid bitch?
Okay. My next story is something that I think that you're going to be very interested about. And it's probably going to be a short one, but let's talk about the 50-cent bus fares in Brisbane, shall we?
I'm intrigued about this one.
Because there was a whole thing, what, a couple of months ago now, was it? For listeners who may not be in Australia, we've had
Or Queensland.
or Queensland, we've had a shift in the political power that's in place at the moment. So we were a Queensland Labor state, now we're a Queensland Liberal state, which is a bit ick, but it is what it is. You got to go with the flow.
Yes.
The people voted them in, then we got no choice. So before Labor went out, they had declared that they were going to do 50-cent public transport fares. So wherever you went, it was going to be 50 cents. And I know you're going to chime in, so I want to ask you
I
about,
know.
because you're a public transport person. And it was a huge thing because everyone's like, oh my God, that's such a good thing that the government's just decided it's going to be 50 cents for people. And like, because sometimes you can go one way for a 40-minute fare to the city. And public transport in Brisbane is actually very good. There's a lot of variety for it. It's easy to access. It gets you where you need to go in lots of places. Trains probably I prefer way more than buses. I would catch a train any day because I live near a really close train line. But 50 cents when sometimes you could pay $10 to get to the city one way is very, very good. But I was reading today about one of the whole reasons that the 50 cents bus fare came in is because they're trying to encourage people to not work from home and try to populate places because
Yeah.
during COVID, especially in Brisbane, and look, different places in Australia would have had a different experience. But for someone who, and I wasn't living in Brisbane during COVID, but I know what it was like in the CBD. So the CBD for Brisbane is, they make their most money. All the restaurants and the cafes and the coffee places and the wine bars and stuff like that, they make all their money Monday to Friday pretty much because they rely on all the people who travel into the city and work there and go out for drinks after work and buy coffees in the morning and buy lunch on their lunch break. So there's not that much going on in the CBD on the weekends. So when work from home, I guess, so COVID pretty much shut it all down because people weren't going into the city at all. And now, people working from home has stopped that revenue generating for small businesses in the city. And I had never thought about it. When I saw the 50-cent fares come on, I never realized that it was a ploy to try to get more people to use public transport to go into the office so that they would, patronage their local businesses and buy more coffees out, buy more lunches, go to the shops a bit more and go to the boutiques, and because they got to buy birthday presents and stuff like that. It never occurred to me that that was the whole intent. I mean, I thought it was just like a way to provide some sort of financial relief to people, which is part of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about them trying to encourage, more small businesses to get more foot traffic.
Yeah.
by pushing people into the city. But I did wonder if someone who catches public transport every day and has a go card, if you still get the discounts, or is it a random 50 cents if you just buy a ticket, or do you still get the 50-cent fare on your go card?
Okay, so I have a
A go
completely
card
different.
is a transport card
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you.
yeah. Marky card, Oyster card, that type of thing. I have a different take on it. So
Oh.
it came out about 5 or 6 months ago where the Labor
Right.
government brought it in.
Yes,
And my
remember vividly.
understanding was that it was 50 cents to get more people to catch public transport, not work from home. Because even if I had a free bus, I would still be working from home on my work from home days.
Look, I think it's a whole pronged approach, right? There was a lots of incentives to try to do it. Like it was, they were hopeful that it would bring in, like, but that's one I didn't cover. You're right. It would have
Yeah,
been
I think it was to
making.
cut down on cars and the actual traffic buildup in the date in the going in peak hour and shit like that. So it came in about 5 or 6 months ago. They were doing it as a trial to see if more people would use public transport. They're like, hey, Queensland, you've done it. You've been doing, using more public transport. Now that it's so much cheaper, we're going to bring it in as a full-time
Permanent thing.
thing,
Yeah.
permanent thing. And if we get re-elected, we'll bring it in as a permanent thing. The Liberal government, or the LNP, had said that initially that they wouldn't be, but then when it got closer to the election, they also provided the same commitment.
Of course they
So
did. They
yeah,
flip-flopped. Yeah.
so it is a permanent thing, and it's totally noticeable. So Vinny and I would
Oh, so it
budget.
does apply. It does apply to your
Yeah, it's 50
everyday.
cents for
Yeah, which
every
is what
travel.
I thought initially, but I wondered if it would impact you really positive. So you're going from paying like $30 or something a week to paying what?
So, well, because we're going in, we'd catch the bus in the mornings. I catch it in 3 days a week, and I catch it home 1 day a week, and I'd walk the other 2 days anyway. So we would have $40 a fortnight budgeted for our bus fare
Mm-hmm.
each. So $80 a fortnight, and now it's like mine's $2 a week now.
Wow,
And
that's
Vinny's
huge,
is
isn't it?
Vinny catches the bus a bit more home if I'm not at work, but still, yeah, it's completely noticeable. $40. So we do an auto top up of $40 onto
Yeah,
our go card
yeah,
when it gets to a certain point, and that $40 just lasts months.
forever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So it's definitely been great.
And look, I remember, so I used to catch public transport, and I live in the suburbs, and Sean lives quite locally to the city.
Yeah,
So I lived in the suburbs, and when I used to catch public transport, it used to cost me about $35 to $40 a week, because
yeah,
the travel fare was much, much longer and much more expensive.
yeah. Well, it used to
Um,
cost us just under $4 to get into work from here,
yeah,
and now
yeah. I
it's
think
50
it used to
cents.
cost about like $7 each way or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
right.
and because I was on the train for 45 minutes, it was a long trip in and out. But that added up, and I had to be there 5 days a week. Before, this is way before COVID. This was
Before,
when it
yeah.
was always work from home. So, you think it's a small amount, but it actually isn't really when
It
you think
adds up
about
a
it
lot, yeah.
across 12 months. So, but my point of bringing it up as something that I'd read this week was the fact that I hadn't really thought about the foot traffic and trying to get people in from work from home and giving them more of an incentive.
Yeah.
That it's, because the whole thing about working from home is that you don't pay fuel if you're a driver.
And
You know what I
also the
mean?
convenience of logging off at 5 o'clock and being home.
Yes, yes, that's true. That
Doing
is
your
very
laundry during
true.
the lunch
Yeah.
break.
But you would agree, though, there is something about going into the office once or
Oh,
twice a week that's really important, because
I go in 3 times a week, and I'm happy with that
yeah.
2-3 split.
I'm a
I
different
like catching
person
up
in the
with people.
office that I'm at home. I tend to work more when I'm at home, because I'll just be like, oh, it's 5 o'clock, I'm going to log off. But then I remember something, I'm like, shit, I'll run back down and I'll quickly send that email. And then before I know it, I'll spend another 45 minutes responding to another couple of emails that I've got.
Yeah.
Whereas when I'm in the office, I switch off, I come home, that's it. I don't
Yes.
do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, agreed.
Yeah. But then when I'm
Yeah.
in the office, I'm talking to everyone, I'm having different conversations, and it's
Yeah.
like really
Yeah,
good
yeah,
to
yeah.
see
It's a social.
everyone.
Yeah, totally.
And
Let's
people tend to bring in more treats, I find, when they're in the office. Do you find that when people are in the office, they're like, oh, I was going past the bakery and I just grabbed a whole bunch of snacks for everybody.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone's all
Oh, we do
happy
our
to be in
coffee
the
walk
office
in
and
the
see
morning,
everyone.
and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely think it's value in having that mix, that hybrid approach for sure.
Anywho, what's your next one, stupid bitch?
All right. So let's dive into now. I'm talking about this because we did Halloween recently. So let's dive into another tradition that the Aussies know so well about, but don't get to partake in Thanksgiving, the day that kicks off a marathon of
Oh,
eating, gratitude, and spending.
I wish
It's,
we had Thanksgiving,
I know,
man.
I know, same. It's actually Thanksgiving today in the US. Well, on
Oh,
the
is it
28th
today?
of
Is it?
the 28th of November. So whenever there today is with the time difference. And honestly, I think this might be one of the most misunderstood American holidays for us Aussies. Like it's obviously not just about turkey, football, and prepping for Black Friday sales, although fair to say that's a big chunk of it now. Thanksgiving started as a harvest celebration going way back to 1621 when the Plymouth Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people came together for a feast. Fun fact, this little get together was meant to celebrate a bountiful harvest, and it's a historical root of Thanksgiving, but I don't want to sugarcoat it too much because there's some serious ick in the history about it all,
Well,
and
that's what I thought. I
and
always thought there
I'm
was a whole thing between races and stuff like that about the
it was so
Indians
it
and the
was about
first Thanksgiving and
the Native American people, but from my
Native
understanding,
Americans. Sorry.
sorry, from the Native Americans saw the Plymouth Pilgrims who had
Mm.
no food, but the Native Americans are, hey, we've had a bountiful harvest. Here's some food. Let's share. And they helped share the food and, shared the food with the
Oh,
Pilgrims.
I love that.
But then I think
Things
wipeouts
got
occurred.
dicey.
But I'm not equipped to unpack that all.
Mm.
However, what I do love is the modern, more secular version that these days it's families gathering around the table, sharing a meal, reflecting on the good things in life. And imagine if we adopted something like that here in Australia. Like, yes, give me a public holiday to eat a massive roast and tell my loved ones how much I
Totally.
adore them and hear how much they adore me. Sign me up, please,
With pumpkin pie.
with
Give me some
pumpkin
pumpkin
pie.
pie.
Speaking of experiencing Thanksgiving firsthand, I've always wanted to be part of a proper
Me
traditional
too.
Thanksgiving dinner. We could picture it where you're sitting at a massive table with a real American Canadian family,
Mm.
eating all the fixins,
Yeah.
stuffing,
Yeah.
yams,
Giving thanks.
green bean casserole, sharing heartfelt thanks. Yes, please. I'd be living my best Hallmark movie moment right there. But in saying that, Vinny and I actually did spend Thanksgiving in the States back in 2017. We didn't exactly live out the Hallmark dream. Instead, we went into an Instead, we went all in at the Planet Hollywood buffet in Vegas. Classy,
Ooh.
I know. And whilst it wasn't turkey at grandma's house, it did include bottomless drinks.
Well, then,
And you'd be proud
hurrah.
to know we did Thanksgiving right. I still remember the waitress who served us, bless her, leaning over with a massive glass of champagne and saying, "Oh, honey, with that accent, you could talk to me all day." And yes, she was referring to my Aussie accent and not Vinny's Irish one. The first time ever that has happened, and probably the last, let's be honest. Um, and she said, "Yeah, I'm going to give you an extra big glass of bubbles for that." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And she kept flirting and batting her eyes as well. And Vinny was like, Vinny, as you can imagine, was raging at that point because he's like, I'm used to getting that attention of my accent, his
100%
like
he is.
Southern Irish accent. Now, the big thing that comes after Thanksgiving, of course, is the Black Friday sales, which
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have mysteriously migrated here to Australia, which is
Mm,
fine. But where's the Thanksgiving fucking holiday that these
I
sales are
know.
supposed to follow, please?
I know.
Also, we've got a massive markdowns on air fryers and TVs. It's such a weird cultural import. No turkey, no gratitude, just capitalism on steroids. Have you dived into the Black Friday madness yet?
Look, I find that the Black Friday stuff is a bit bogus, really. Like it's like any sale. They
It's
tell
like our
you it's a
Boxing Day
sale
sale.
until you find something that you really want and you actually know what the real price is, and then you look it up and you're like, that's like the same price, or it's like $2 off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look, I think that the sales are a bit bogus, but I'm with you about the whole Thanksgiving thing. I think Tyler and I were talking about planning a trip to the US next year, but we were going to try to be there during November because it's a start of a lot of sports stuff as well.
Well, they have the big football games on Thanksgiving and shit like that.
So we thought we'd have the best chance of trying to find some sort of football game. We want to go to college games and do all that sort of stuff. But one of the things that I would have tried to do is try to find, somewhere to have a traditional Thanksgiving meal with a family or somewhere like at a pub or something where it's really done right.
A pub would be cool. Yeah, a pub would be a good venue.
But you have to think people who would open their house to people on Thanksgiving would be the real weirdos. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't
I
really,
feel like you would probably
like,
do well in that situation because you're so fucking chatty and able to mingle with people easily. You could be in any situation and you'd find fucking new best friend to get pissed with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you do well with that, but I also agree that the people that would invite you in would be like, either super conservative type of weird people or doing their bit to blindside help.
Yeah.
Or just some real fucking, I want to get out of here now because there's 70 dolls in that corner looking at me weirdly.
This house is weird. Help me. But I also think, it would be lovely if we had it here. But totally. I love the fact that there's all those, whenever you see it in films and stuff like that, it's always like, fuck, it's Thanksgiving, then it's fucking Christmas. You know what I mean? It's like Thanksgiving, and then a couple of weeks later it's Christmas. And they're always like, I've got to go spend time with my family at Thanksgiving, then I go fucking do it again at Christmas time.
And they're all still going to school and that. Like we go on our big break of 6 weeks over Christmas, but fucking they
the
still
kids
do
have
school.
6 weeks over Christmas. Well, we don't. We're adults.
That's what I meant. Sorry, but in the States they're still, and in Ireland as well, they're still all working, going to school through winter, but then they get summer and they get fucking 2 or 3 months off and they'll get summer jobs and shit like that or go to summer camp. Like I wanted that too.
Yeah, I know.
We just fucking boil on the oval still at school, sat on fucking carpet squares.
Totally. But I do love this time of year when all the American people that I follow on Instagram share all their stuff about Thanksgiving. I'm like, yes, I would totally eat that. Oh my God, that's so insane. Yeah,
agreed. Well, I would like to say that I have purchased an unnecessary number of scented candles and new stock of Aussie Bum undies during the Black Friday sales that have occurred this year.
And for much cheaper?
Well, 50% off on the Aussie Bums, but like the dusk sales, they just hammer you too. They're like, oh, quick, now there's another one, 50% off the next bought item. This is the last chance you're going to get this. But then they have that 2 weeks before Black Friday as well.
Yeah. Well, Tyler signed me up to dusk because I sent him down there to get gifts a little while ago because when they had all the lolly candles out.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And every time we went to a birthday, we were just giving that as a gift.
They're cool. They're cool.
They're super cool. It's like, that's easy. Just go get that candle because it's so easy and everyone loves it. And so he signed me up. So I get smashed with the dusk stuff too. But
me too.
Yeah, I spent too much money on frivolous things.
Yes, agreed.
I need to stop.
Well, especially now.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, especially now, I'm trying to get rid of my stuff. I got stuff I got to get rid of. I'm trying to downsize on my things so I have less stuff to move.
Yeah, but it's the same with anything really. When it comes to a sale, you got to look out for the good shit, know what you actually want. And it's not like the Americans Black Fridays. Like we've seen the videos back in the day before internet shopping of people getting TVs and killing people for a Cabbage Patch.
It's more like our Boxing Day sales here. Yes, like we have the Boxing Day sales and they can be crazy because they've still got all that. They're overstocked. From Christmas. They're trying to sell off the stuff that they didn't sell at Christmas so they can get their new stock in. They're the crazy sales, but also who wants to fucking be at the shops on Boxing Day? I'm still drinking and recovering from my hangover from Christmas Day and also going, who wants beers? At like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I usually make it on the 28th and see what's left.
Yeah. Oh, I have to cut that. Okay, I got it out.
Good.
Okay, so my next one is going to be about Wicked. Now, I've got a whole big spiel, but I feel like we should just talk about it anyway because I thought that you would have been like waiting overnight to see this. I really did
I
because
would.
you're a massive fan. So, everybody knows, right? It used to be a book. It started off a
Yes.
book, and which I've never read, and
I've read it.
it's been. Oh, did you? And what did you
I read
think?
it in London. It's very different to the
Yes,
musical.
yes.
It was good. It was pretty heavy. And then there's a
Mm,
whole other there's sequels to it as well.
Oh, I know
Like
there's
the Wicked
heaps.
Witch has a son in one of them,
Mm.
or had a son, because I think she can I do a spoiler alert?
Yeah, go.
It's not so in the book, I think she died at the end of the book, Elphaba.
Mm-hmm.
And Elphaba, I think her full name somehow is a anagram for L.A. Balm. Who's the guy who wrote the original Wizard of Oz?
It's Gregory Maguire.
Who's Balm then? Baum.
Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe he wrote the Wicked book.
No, so the highly anticipated Wicked movie based on the Broadway sensation and Gregory Maguire's novel Wicked,
Oh
the
yeah, no.
life and times of the Wicked Witch of the West.
Who wrote Wizard of Oz?
Oh, okay. Who wrote Wizard of Oz? Yeah, I don't know.
Author is L. Frank Baum, Baum, Baum.
Right,
So
right.
Elphaba
Okay.
has something to do with that. Like, yeah.
Right.
Um, and then he also did some other books as
There's no
well.
M in it. There's no M in
Elphaba.
Alphaba.
No, and I don't know if that was some of her last name or if it was to sound like Elf Frank Baum, Elphaba.
Right.
You know how it's sort of, if you say it fast, Elf Frank Baum, Elphaba.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes a bit more
something
sense.
like that. But he also wrote other books about like where the dark twist on Alice in Wonderland or something like that, like more of a darker turn on those types of things, those fairy tales. But sorry, continue.
But I feel like it's one of those books, like how Handmaid's Tale is such an amazing story, but if you read the book, you're like, ooh, it's a
Yeah.
little bit long
Oh,
and
yes.
detailed and more like a literary book than
Yes.
a
And
book that you
it's,
can't put down and you read it, you stay up all night reading it because it's so insane that you
yeah.
just can't put it down.
Yes.
It's more of those ones where you have to push through.
Yeah. And it's a lot darker than the movie. And I think the guy that Jonathan Bailey plays, I think his character's bisexual in the book.
Right. Okay.
Oh, actually,
Okay.
that might not be right. I think Rob Anderson just threw me on that because he said that in one of his reviews on the book.
Oh, okay.
And he think he made
I
that
love
up.
him. I
Yeah.
love that guy so much.
Same.
I'm so obsessed with him.
But yeah, no, I would have been first in line to see the movie, but Vinny also. So I've seen the musical 4 times. I saw it 3 times in London and once in Australia. Vinny and I saw it in London. He loved it.
Hence why I thought you would have been staying up all night camping out for the
But,
film.
but Vinny loved the musical as well. And so I want to see it with him.
Of course, of course. So again, for listeners, Vinny's been away for 5 weeks. Nearly, it'll be 6 by the time he gets back, and he's coming back next week.
And also, do you know that the movie is a two-parter?
Yes, I do know that now because you said it to me the other day, and then in my research today, I realized it's a two-parter.
So it ends at where the intermission ends in or begins in the musical.
Do you know that the only time, other than me knowing about the books for years, the only time that I really understood that it was a musical the first time was from seeing Glee?
Oh, really?
And then Defying Gravity. Because I
Gravity.
remember saying to you, oh my God, I love this song. And you're like, Sky, it's from fucking Wicked. And I was like, what?
You see Kristen Chenoweth and Adina Menzel?
Yes, Adina Menzel. Yeah.
You see them, you watch their YouTube of it because they were the original Elphaba and Glinda.
Did you see the one that I sent you something and you're probably not up to date on my memes because we do send a lot of memes to each other on Instagram. But I sent you something earlier this week and it's some Broadway chicks who've done Wicked over their time, all been and they
all
sing
doing Defying
four
Gravity.
of them and they do it in harmony.
Yeah.
How good is that?
It was amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a huge vibe right now, right? Everybody, like if you turn on anything, it's just like
It's
Wicked,
all over
Wicked,
Instagram.
coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up. Everything is coming
And
up.
everyone
Wicked.
doing the
I know, and I messaged my sister. I was like, right, we have to go and see that. And my sister's messaged back to me because I said to her, about, I think it was the beginning of the week, last week when we got back from Bali. I messaged her. I said, right, Wicked's been out for a couple of weeks now. We have to go and see it and take the girls. Let's go and see it. And she was like, I don't have anything free until January.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's the same as me.
We're
But I
going
was
midweek.
prepared to try and squeeze you in somewhere just to go and see it.
Yeah.
And she was like, let's try to get our calendars together and figure it out. So, you know, I'll probably just watch it on Foxtel eventually anyway.
See, I think it's got to be one you see in the cinema first,
Yeah.
at least. So it's 2.5 hours. And so I was thinking, where's a Friday or a Saturday we can see it? Sundays are going to be out because we'll be hungover. And so I've said to Vinny, you do realize we'll be seeing it. I think I told you.
Yeah.
Right
on a
after work
weeknight.
on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just going to happen. I can't not see it at the cinema.
Because it is going to be one of those ones that you have to, like, you know, really. And I think it's going to be one of those ones when it finishes, you're like, oh my God, I don't want it to end. It was so good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
And there's just so many good songs in it.
Yes,
and I'm just
popular.
Yeah.
Popular. I know about popular.
I love Defying Gravity though. That's my favorite.
That's the biggest song in the whole fucking thing.
I love that. And I feel like if I saw it at the cinema, I would just be like singing it as well, like sitting there just like singing all the words. Like I wouldn't be able to help myself.
Yeah, same. I've seen clips of people like before Wicked, after Wicked, and they come out and they're all like tears down their face going, oh my God.
Well, that's the other thing, because, you know, it's practically a gay icon film, right? Because there's so many things that come up on Instagram. There's like two guys like dressed as like Glenda and Apapa, and they're like, can I get a ticket, please?
Yeah. Well, it's someone being outcast because of being different. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very excited to see it. I saw something on Instagram earlier this week, and it was about Amanda Seyfried from Mamma Mia, and she
tried out for Glinda.
Did you see that too? And I think I shared it with you. And she auditioned too, and her audition was excellent. She sung because she tried out for Glinda, the Good Witch, and it was excellent. Like, she was so good, and I was like, oh wow, I'm sure Ariana Grande is excellent
amazing.
in it.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of her.
Oh, I don't mind her. I love a couple of her songs. Side to Side. I love that song. Fucking look, I don't own any albums, but I like a few of her songs. And she's got an amazing voice. I do also like a few
of her songs. She does have an amazing voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just on the agenda. I'm just trying to figure out where I can fit it in, but it's just like such a vibe right now, and everyone's hyped about it. And you know, you can't sort of get away from it. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Wicked. Yes. Like, damn it, when will I see it?
I know, and that you just got to make it happen. Because when I saw the stage show very first, I was like, I cannot wait till this is a movie, because the movie magic of what they can do or try to portray. It's like we saw Chicago I saw the movie first. The movie explains so much easier what's actually happening than what you can see on stage.
I saw Chicago too. I don't know if I saw it with you. I don't think I did.
I saw it recently with the sisters.
I saw it.
Oh no, that was the Itina. I saw it with Vinny.
And it was good, but I was still like, oh, I probably needed to have seen the film to really sort of get
piece it together. Yeah.
But who's the chick who plays Elphaba? Where's her name? I have it here somewhere. Just let me try and find it.
She's a Broadway legend.
Cynthia Erivo, who I've never heard of before and never seen her before. But she did her own stunts, like fully, and sung while she was doing those stunts. Like, it's just like insane to watch. I was like, oh my God.
Have you seen the video of her like rehearsing the stunts and shit?
Yes, it looks crazy, isn't it? And she's just so into it.
Flying
like
around,
she's just like doing it all. And then you see Ariana Grande in the background just like clapping every time she does it. It's like, that's so good.
Yeah, they've had total fucking best friend vibes, even with the interviews afterwards. And they kept being a lot of shit about how emotional they are. And I just hate how people see emotions as a negative thing.
I know, totally. Like, and it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing to be part of that film. Like, I think it's massive, you know, just let them go. Fucking
I would love it if Kristen Chenoweth, and I don't know, so I don't want any spoilers if you do know. I'd love it if her and that Idina Menzel had cameos. I'd love that.
Anywho, moving on. I think it's your turn.
Okay. So for my final story, I have a little Menendez Brothers update. So we'll shift gears from our
I
festivities of
nearly put it on the
Christmas.
other night. So when
Oh,
on
the
Monday night,
Monsters
when I
one.
had a little bit of wine, I went to put it on, and then I decided to put on the beginning of the what's the little girl? The new
Oh,
one.
John Benet Ramsey.
John Benet Ramsey. I put the John Benet Ramsey on for 5 minutes, and I forgot that she was fucking 6.
Yeah,
Like,
and that
I
whole
mean,
beauty pageant
I
thing, and
know that she was, and I know like in pop culture, like I did know it, but when I was watching it, I was like, this little girl is fucking 6. And then when
yeah,
you see her strutting her stuff in the
yeah,
outfits in the beginning,
yeah,
I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can
yeah.
stomach this. Like I just can't, I can't do
And
it.
there
She was
was
6 years. She was a baby. She was
yes,
6 is still a baby. They are
and they
still
yeah, totally.
tiny babies, man.
Yeah. And there was guys at the end of the halls with
Oh,
their video cameras
I
watching it.
couldn't do it. And Tyler was asleep. It wasn't even Tyler boohooing
Yeah.
me and saying, "Oh my God, you
Exploitation at
can't
its
watch
finest.
this."
Yeah.
I was just going, "Oh my," and it just totally icked me out so bad that I
Yeah.
ended up putting on The Haunting of Hill House instead.
But yeah, watch the Monsters, the Menendez story. It is fucking
Well, I was
amazing.
tossing up between the two, and then once I put
John
John
Bonet,
Bonet on, that icked me out of true
true
crime.
crime. I
And then I
get
went,
that.
oh no, and then just all of a sudden popped in my head. I was like, Haunting of Hill House, I'm totally gonna watch that. And then I just put it on and watched 3 episodes.
Yeah, no, definitely give the Menendez brothers a go. So yeah, shifting gears from my festive articles of Christmas and Thanksgiving, because I would like to give an update on the Menendez brothers because the drama with these two never seems to end, and I love it. The retrial, which was originally scheduled for this month, like I think it was meant to be tomorrow, the 29th, but it's now been pushed back to the 31st of January next year. Why, I hear you ask?
I do ask because also, how many years have they lost? If it turns out that they have been imprisoned,
Yes.
and they were wrongly accused, how long have they been in jail for?
Well, they're not wrongly accused. They did kill their parents, but when they
They
get
had mitigating factors as to
yes,
why.
that the on their second trial, because the first one was a hung jury, because all the men wouldn't say that they were guilty
Sexually
of
abused.
yes, and it was all the men in the jury that said no because they didn't think that happened. Um, so yeah, but they would have if they got in on that. But when they had their second trial, the judge didn't allow the option for them to go for not manslaughter, maybe secondary murder or something like that, where he wouldn't allow any of that evidence about the sexual abuse be entered into the court. So the only option they had was basically either they were going to be innocent or guilty. No, they were going to
Mm,
be guilty, and it was either life imprisonment or death. That was
mm.
the two that the only outcome for them.
So they're in jail right now, aren't they?
They're in jail right now, and they're together again. They got together in I think 2011 or 14 or something like that. But before that, they're in separate prisons.
So they're in the same prison. They're not in the same room. They wouldn't put them in the same
No,
room.
they're in the
There'd be a
same prison now.
conflict.
But you totally got to watch it.
Even that's
Anyway,
weird that they'd put them in the same prison, isn't it, though?
no, I think that they kept saying, "Can we please? I need to be with my brother," and rah rah rah, and they were
Mm.
getting beaten up and shit. Anyway, why, here you ask? Yes, you asked. Well, there's been a shakeup in the LA County District Attorney's Office. The incoming DA officially takes over on the 3rd of December and apparently wants more time to get across the case. He said he's looking forward to, and I quote, thoroughly reviewing all the facts. And honestly, I feel like that's some textbook legal speak to say, let me sort this mess out after the holidays, which I get.
Yeah, that's a January problem.
That's a January problem. So mark your calendars for the end of January because this retrial is bound to bring some fireworks, and I'm going to follow the shit out of it.
Mm.
But that's not the only Menendez
Get ready for
update.
updates on the podcast,
Oh, you know what's
people.
happening. That's
From
not the
January,
only.
though.
Yes, well, from Feb, because it'll be 31st of Jan. That's not the only Menendez update we've got because Lyle Menendez has had some personal developments. After 21 years of marriage, Lyle and his now ex-wife Rebecca have officially called it quits. She posted on Facebook, and I quote, Lyle and I have been separated for a while now. We are ever actually physically together.
Yeah.
but remain best friends and family. Sure, hun. We all love a civilized breakup, but wait, there's more. Because she's also made it crystal clear that this is not a cheating scandal. So thanks for clearing that up, Rebecca. Very convincing. She is, however, still running Lyle's Facebook pages with his input, and she's declared she's forever committed to enduring the fight for Lyle and Eric's freedom. But let's just pause there. Does anyone else think the timing is a little suspicious? Like, is Lyle hedging his bets for a fresh start if the case in the retrial goes his way? Sorry, babe, it's not you. It's the life sentence I'm hoping to ditch. And let's not forget, Rebecca's been one of the most vocal supporters of the brothers over the years. So for her to step back from the marriage while staying firmly in the hashtag Free Menendez Brothers camp, it's giving, I'm going to love you I'm going to love you from a distance, but I still want the merch royalties. I know we've talked about the Menendez Brothers case before between the Netflix special by Ryan Murphy and all the renewed specials and the one by Ryan Murphy and the renewed interest in their story. It's been a true crime whirlwind, but this retrial and Lyle's split are like bonus episodes that we didn't know we needed. You can picture Lyle updating his relationship status to "it's complicated" if things heat up in January. Or is this just another chapter in the never-ending Menendez saga? Either way, 2025 shaping up to be a spicy year for true crime fans, aka me, please.
You're waiting with bated breath, aren't you?
I am. I just want to see him get out and they'll be like, hey guys, I knew it right all along.
Okay, I've got one more little tiny tidbit and it's not going to take very long to add. Did you know that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in Australia at the moment?
No, I did not.
They are. They've been seen wining and dining in Sydney in multiple restaurants.
Wow.
They're here. They're in Australia.
What for? Just a hole?
Can you guess? I want you to guess why they're
Oh.
here.
Are they promoting Scooby-Dooby 3? Scooby-Dooby.
No.
Scooby-Doo 3.
No, but it is another sequel.
Oh, I still know what the fuck you did last summer.
Yes.
But she's not in it, is she?
She's not. She gets killed off in the first movie, if you recall. Remember, she's running through the dress shop. Her sister owns that shop, you know, and she's running through it after they cut off her hair.
She's not the one that
stabbed in the fucking
what's the one that's in the alleyway?
She gets stabbed in the alleyway. Yes. Yeah, but after she's ran through the store and she's banging on the door. Yeah, she's banging on the door and her sister who's mean to her, she goes, "Oh my God," and opens the door. It's like, "Oh my God, you're so hectic." And then she runs in and she's running around and someone's chasing her and the sister's like, What are you doing? I can't remember if the sister dies or not.
I don't think so.
And then she gets away and she's like,
and
oh
there's
my
a
God.
band going past or
there's a parade happening. Yeah. And then she just goes, oh my God, she's fine. Then someone grabs her, drags her into the alley and fucks her up.
Stabs the fuck out of her. Yeah.
So she dies.
Trombones and a big parade.
And while it's going on, she's getting the with the big fucking fish hook or whatever it was that he was killing them all with.
Yeah.
So yeah, she definitely dies, but he is doing the sequel. Well, it says sequel, so I don't know if they're doing a whole thing where they're forgetting everyone after like they were in it, because I think there was the first two where they were both still in it, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., because remember they were the only two who survived at the end, and there was a sequel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they both survived at the end of the sequel.
Yeah.
And then there was a few more after it and they weren't in it. I think I watched the sequel, but I can't recall.
Watched I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely think I did, but I can't remember it. But if you remember, we did on the podcast, God, I can't remember what episode it was, but I made my niece watch it. Yes. Yeah. And I got my niece to watch it with me, and she just rolled her eyes at me the entire time and said, this is the worst acting I've ever seen in any scary movie. And she's a scary movie buff.
Yeah.
Like, she knows her shit. She loves the screams. She's totally committed. She loves the Nightmare on Elm Street. She loves the Halloweens. She's totally there for all the horror movies. She's seen them all. But when she watched, and she loved Urban Legends, loved it. which is also very
Oh, you did
cliche.
watch? Yeah,
We,
yeah,
we
yes.
watched them both in the same night. I think we watched I Know What You Did Last
I
Summer first,
watched,
then we watched
yes,
Urban Legends
because I
after.
watched Urban Legends around that same time, and I was like, this is fucking so bad, it's so good.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so good though. But
Yeah.
and I was watching I Know What You Did Last Summer for the first time, also thinking it was so bad that it was good. And my niece was just like, this is terrible. This is just awful. And I was like, is it really that bad? She's like, the acting is
Oh
just
yeah, like when Jennifer
so
Love Hewitt looks
bad.
out in the street and goes, "Come on, what are you waiting for?" And she's
Yeah.
looking up to the sky. It's like he's not God. He's down on
Yeah.
the street with you, dumb
But
bitch.
she really didn't like Ryan Felipe either. Like his acting, she thought was really bad. Anyway,
Yeah,
so she was
he was
totally
an
down
asshole
on
in it
it.
too, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he was a dick. Um, but so I have watched that fairly recently. But to think that they're making a whole nother sequel. So again, like I said, I don't know if it's like a sequel from the second movie or if it's a sequel at the end of the series of films
This,
that they made.
yeah,
Because he's super fucking old.
yeah.
So, you know, I
He's
don't
a bit
know
of a
how he's
silver
going to come
fox now,
into it.
isn't he?
Yes.
I
But
would
has that
say,
weird face about him. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
He's never been very, I don't think he's attractive.
yeah. Oh, I think he's. I can see why people think he's attractive.
Mm.
Would I go down on him in a theater? No. Would I allow to
I
Morissette him?
think
No.
I think Sarah Michelle Gellar would have a real problem with it because she openly promotes like how they have the best Hollywood marriage ever and they've had so much
Well, look,
longevity and they've been
to be
together for over
fair,
20 years, yada
that is
yada.
true. They have had a good given a good innings.
Yeah. But it's very interesting that they're doing that. She's not in it, but she's like, I think some sort of, I don't think she's an executive producer, but she's in the side in the background because the director who's doing it is someone that she's best friends with. Don't know who the
Right.
director is in terms of what other films that she has done, but it's very interesting that they're doing it again on the back of Scream being so popular. The remakes of Scream keep going on and
Yes.
on and on. And every
Yes.
time they're really good.
I've just had a
I
look
don't care
at.
what anyone says. Those
Yeah, no, I'm
Scream
enjoying
remakes
them.
are excellent.
They did, and they did a really good job in it. Instead of remaking it, they what do
Yes.
they call it? It was like it's not a sequel, it's a some
Continuation.
yeah, sort of. So I think
Yeah.
I've just had a look in Wikipedia and it said the plot is similar in approach to Scream, in which characters from the original film are included in a story featuring a younger
A
cast.
younger cast.
So that's probably
Yes.
his children are in
Mm.
it, and it's probably the child of the fucking killer who's
Yeah. But
involved
I
or
know What You Did Last Summer was a total ripoff of the Scream franchise in terms of the
yeah.
popularity at the time
Mm.
and how the,
It jumped on the coattails of the new horror franchise.
100% it did. And at the time, it was a huge success. We loved it. We thought it was excellent because it was a
Yeah.
different take. You
Yeah.
know, they killed someone. It
You
wasn't
just wanted
full
more and more and
slasher.
more
You did.
slasher. Yeah.
So it'd
And
be
they're doing it
very,
again, obviously, with
yes,
the new Scream thing. They're thinking, oh, we'll jump in on this too.
yeah. So they're trying to take from that franchise once again.
And you see how Sydney's back in the new Scream
I
sequel.
know, and I'm so there for it.
Me too. I cannot
And so
fucking
is
wait.
Courtney Cox, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, she's been in the other ones as well.
Yeah, I know, and I love that. I
Yeah,
love that they still keep including them, but they have a whole different storyline, and then they still bring the old faithfuls back in.
yeah,
Although Dewey dying was just fucked up.
yeah, yeah. What was that? Was that Scream 3?
No, it was the one.
Or was that the
I think it
remake?
was the
Oh, we'll say
remake
or Scream 4 or
because there's
5.
two remakes now, isn't there?
Well, they did. No, they did Scream 1, 2, 3, and then they came out with 4, 5, 6.
Mm.
When did Dewey
I
die?
think he died in the last one. It was either the last one or the one before.
Dewey Dewey was killed off in the fifth film. So Scream 5.
And so what is Scream 6 out?
Yeah, so Scream series franchise. So the new Screams aren't a sequel as such. It's sort of I can't remember what the
It
term
is. It's a
is.
continuation.
Yeah, but
So
they
with
sort
the
of it's
old
like a revamp.
characters are still the same people, but
Scream,
it's a whole new story.
yes. So it went Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, which finished in 2011. Then
Mm-hmm.
Scream came out again in 2022, and then Scream 6 was 2023. So
Yes.
he died in the brought it out with
Yes. So
the connections to the kids.
the last two have been the daughter is Billy Loomis's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it had
And he died in the
Kate
first one
Peyton
of those.
came back into it as well. Because she was meant to have died in Scream 4, but she came back in Scream.
And she's the new police officer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, now I want to watch the Screams.
I know, and totally want to watch them from the beginning again.
Yeah, I actually want to do the Friday the 13th marathons as well.
When I first moved up here, which is 3 years ago now, when I first moved up here, I did the whole Screams from the beginning to the end with my niece, and we did them like in like ordered, like straight after each other over like a week or so.
Nice.
And then we waited, and then she came to visit me, and we watched the last one, and I had to pay like $20 for it.
Yeah, I had to do that too.
And I was like, I can't believe it. She's like, please pay the $20. And she'd already seen it in the cinema.
Yeah.
And she was like, please, I need to watch it with you. And I was like, fine. After we watched Urban Legends, I was like, fine, I'll pay the $20 and I'll put it on. And it was excellent. And even we even got Tyler to watch it with us, and he hates horror movies.
Yes. They did a TV series of it, which I didn't really love too much. I think there's 2 seasons of it.
I never watched it. It was reasonably popular at the time, but then it only had 2 seasons, so it obviously didn't have.
And they did the same with I Know What You Did Last Summer. That had a TV series as well, which was just But there's Camp Crystal Lakes coming out next year. That's a TV series of Friday the 13th.
Yes. I actually want to do the Halloweens from the beginning again, actually.
Yeah. Well, that was good. That was nice fun going back in time for our What's the Haps.
I really miss them. I miss the banter that just comes from us just picking random topics that are happening and just going on tangents.
Maybe we bring in a third topic next season.
And that's why we got rid of the What's the Haps, was because it was just us going off on tangents all the time. And it was always the second episode that we recorded after doing Back in Time. We do Back in Time.
And then we'd be super drunk.
We'd be shit-faced for What's the Haps.
That is so true. It'll take 4 hours. But this one's been a long one too.
I know. Oh my God.
So next week we have our final true crime of the season, where we're getting festive as fuck and talking about holiday murders.
Tap into us on Instagram if you can think of any holiday murders, because I'm a bit stumped. So I'm going to do my research this week. But please, if you know of a really good grisly holiday murder, please let us know.
Yes,
we'd love to cover it.
I think I've got one in mind that I want to do. But yes, thanks for listening. Share, subscribe, like. Tell your friends. Tell your mates. Go into the back catalogue, give it a listen if you're a new subscriber. Well, we've had I've told you, I had a look at our listens the other day, and someone's gone back and, or we've had a new listener who's just listening to all the true crimes from the beginning, which is great. That. Yeah. But anyway, good night, you stupid bitches. Good night. Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.